Bill Coyne, Russia getting its butt kicked after mud season, China's economy collapsing this year, repercussions. I guess I didn't really answer those first parts. I think the big problem for Russia is that they can pump oil and they can sell oil, and they're basically selling it at a loss. I mean, India is getting oil from Russia for $38, $40 a barrel right now, and then probably reselling it for a fortune. But Russia doesn't have the institutional knowledge or the technical capabilities to drill new wells, to create new pipelines, to do any of that work. I mean, they're taking all the young men who could do that stuff and making them cannon fodder in eastern Ukraine. And a lot of the folks who have the technical capabilities fled. They're like, I'm too smart to be in this crap hole. And they left. And so there's a huge brain drain in Russia. So when current wells start to tap out or systems start to fail, pipelines break, whatever, their production is going to start plummeting incredibly fast. China, on the other hand, China's such a weird deal because, like, their currency is 100% manipulated. They tie the value of their currency to the dollar, basically, and can do whatever they want. Like, today, the value is 10 yuan per dollar, or whatever it is they want to make it. And so they can just print and print and print and print and print, and you have to deal with China's determination of the value of their coin. It's not truly fiat. Now, will outside markets continue to agree on China's assessment of the value of their currency? If China starts defaulting on more than just the real estate bonds, if they start defaulting on all those municipal bonds, like 9 trillion in municipal bonds that were illegal and never should have happened, because they're not going to pay it. China gonna be like, screw you. What are you going to do about it? So they're not going to pay any of that crap. And that's going to lead to all sorts of trade issues. Big banks around the world aren't going to do business with China. Big banks aren't willing to do business with China. They're going to be really hard hit to get financing to build factories and other infrastructure from this point forward. And the infrastructure they have, like, cool. They build all these high-speed rail trains and stuff. But a lot of it is tofu dang construction. It's made with substandard materials, questionable engineering. I was reading about a high-speed train. It goes from like Beijing to Shanghai. Thing does 400 miles an hour or whatever, and it requires a certain grade of concrete for the forces of like banking. Like that a train banking at 400 miles an hour puts an incredible stress on a piece of infrastructure. And they only had 15 kilometers worth of that concrete, and they built like the other 1,500 kilometers out of a substandard concrete. Now, I don't know when that would fail, but my guess is that, air and water gets in there, concrete starts to crack, rebar starts to expand, and then the whole thing can just create a huge disaster. I have a feeling that we might start seeing some infrastructure failures in the next decade for a lot of the constructions happened over the last 20 years. And then China, they'll have the people power, but will they have the access to cash to do a lot of the maintenance they need to do? All this defaulting will definitely put a hamper on that. And, a large part of their Belt and Road diplomacy, where they're like going and building highways and ports around the world, a lot of that is economic hitman stuff. And if you read Confessions of an Economic Hitman, you know what I mean by that? In that China will be like, hey, we'll build you guys a road. You just take out this loan. You pay us that money for the loan. We build the road, and then you owe us on the loan. And the country's like, okay. And so they build this infrastructure. They get paid for it with their own money, and then they owe them the money again to do it. We did it all over the world. Americans did it. It was evil what we did. We did it to every country in the world. Japan did a whole bunch of it in like the 80s and 90s. Brazil, the financial crisis in 97 in South America resulted in Brazil needing huge infusions from the World Bank and IMF. And they did like a $42 billion loan through the World Bank to Brazil. That $42 billion loan came from the Bank of Tokyo. Bank of Tokyo is owned by Mitsubishi. The loan was to pay Mitsubishi Electric to build a bunch of dams that they then owed the $42 billion on. So, Bank of Mitsubishi gave money to Brazil, they gave it back to Mitsubishi, and then they owe Mitsubishi again. It's a brilliant, brilliant scam. And China is doing this all over the place. They're building ports in like Eritrea and roads in the Congo and stuff like that, airports all over. And then they're saying, hey, you owe us money. You know, we flowed these bonds. You owe us money for these things now. And what happens if China doesn't pay their bonds? If China doesn't pay their bonds to the rest of the world, then why should anyone pay any bonds to China, right? So Eritrea might be like, thanks for the port, eat shit, right? Well, China does have a military base there, so it might be harder for Eritrea to do that. But it's going to be a very weird... I had 2 roommates once, and they were the same dude. Both of them smoked just a ton of pot, were fly fishing guides, and watched TV all day. That's what they did. We sat in their rooms, smoked pot, watched TV, and every once in a while took people out to do fly fishing. And when it came time for us to move out of that house and, clean everything up and get our deposit back, there was a kerfuffle. Now, I took care of the rent. One of them took care of the electric, the other took care of the water. Now, I wish I just took care of everything because it would have saved me time and energy and money and whatever. But one guy owed $300 for electricity, and the other guy owed $300 for water, and they wanted to murder each other. And I was like, guys, just cancel it. You owe each other the same amount of money. Let bygones be bygones. Like, fuck, that guy owes me $300. That guy owes me $300. Blah! And it like came to blows, and police got called and charged. It was just a mess. I'm like, dude, just wipe the slate clean, man. Anyway, as I digress, yeah. No, none of them were Dijon Grey Poupon. This is post-college SS Minnow Johnson. Those were all rainbow children names. A bunch of hippies. Okay.